introducing them, I invite the three of them to come forward. So many of you, and probably most of you, know our president, Dr. David Dooley, and he fosters a community of discovery that involves all University of Rhode Island students, faculty, and staff. He has, no doubt, and I can say this as a proud alum, reshaped the university's strategic direction. He's created a set of broadly defined goals critical to the university's continued evolution, and he has been at the forefront of the development of the Innovation Campus projects that we will be discussing in greater detail in just a moment. So, President Dooley, welcome. I'd also like to welcome Jimmy Choi, Associate Vice President from the Office of Knowledge Enterprise Development at Arizona State University. And Jimmy serves as an Associate Vice President leading entrepreneurship and innovation, using her 20-plus years of expertise in higher education at the intersection of entrepreneurial and public-private partnerships. Previously, Jimmy served in various fast-paced and evolving roles at New York University. She has also served as at the world-renowned Earth Institute at Columbia University. She is a longtime New Yorker by way of soul and an avid internationalist. Jimmy has served in a leadership role for the United Nations Development Program and in various capacities for numerous startup organizations, both not-for-profit and for-profit, helping take a company public in the early days of the dot-com boom. So welcome, Jimmy Choi. And also want to welcome Michael Halleck, and Mike is the CEO and co-founder of the Rhode Island Mushroom Company, and Rhode Island Mushroom down in South Kingstown. If you haven't been there, you need to check it out. It is the largest grower and purveyor of exotic mushrooms in the Northeast. Michael Halleck became interested in local agriculture as a vehicle for engaging more closely with his community. In 2013, Michael co-founded Rhode Island Mushroom Company, and today he has distinguished himself as a thought leader in controlled environment agriculture. So to learn a little bit more about what that means, controlled environment agriculture. So that's really the key to getting the Northeast really into the agricultural production. He helps create and steer food policy in his home state, and he's a member of various food policy councils, both here in Rhode Island and nationally. So how about a nice warm welcome to our panel. So President Dooley, let me begin with you and ask you to break down for us in simple language something that is well precedented, which is the notion of what is an innovation campus.
Thank you, Lori. It's great to be here. I don't miss this particular event since I became president, so that must be the 10th time I've been president of one of these.
You've only missed 9.
I've only But I do want to start by thanking everybody for participating in this. It is a really important gathering and an opportunity for us to come together and share ideas and hear from one another. And it's always been very valuable for me and for our entire team from the University of Rhode Island. The Innovation Campus concept had its origin a couple of years ago. It was one of the many, I think, excellent, well-founded and precedented ideas that were generated by the governor and the Commerce Secretary, Stephen Pryor. They came forward with this, asked us early on at the University of Rhode Island if we would be a partner in this initiative. And the fundamental idea is very simple. That is, you want to capitalize on the research and the talent that takes place at your state research universities, and then you want to couple that, create new ways for that talent pool and that knowledge base to interact with the private sector. And the whole idea is to then generate a synergistic partnership between private sector, higher education, around topics that are important to a regional or state economy. And the governor brought that out. The General Assembly thought it was a good idea. And the voters approved it in a general election a short while ago. And then we got busy. And I want to thank Commerce Secretary Pryor in particular. He put together a great team and a great committee and led a vigorous, I think, and rigorous process to, one, promote the concept nationally, and two, then to select those institutions that would be coming to Rhode Island and partner with the University of Rhode Island and other institutions here in the state to build an innovation campus. And an innovative part of this was, rather than pick and advance a topic, we let the market determine that in a competitive process. And we got a lot of interest, a lot of applications. The committee had significant work to do in winnowing those down to a set of finalists, and then choosing amongst them for the initial round of investment. And as you'll hear today, 3 different initiatives were supported in the initial round. But as an addendum to that, I want to say we're not done yet, in the sense that not all the money approved by the voters, which is $20 billion, has been committed to the 3 partners that are the 3 initiatives that we'll talk about today. And that means we're still at work. The committee's still got work to do. And Catherine Flynn and Pete Rumsey, who sort of led this effort with the Commerce Secretary, have a lot of work in front of them, as does the committee, to be in the next round. But we're optimistic that we'll get another, I think, set of really interesting applicants and opportunities for us to work with. So the 3 that we're talking about today, that were selected and announced, cover a variety of areas. One, agriculture, which may surprise some of you, but I want to just emphasize that that is a critically important part for food sustainability and food security. And frankly, in the era of climate change, we've got to think about agriculture in entirely new ways, because many of the world's and America's most productive agricultural regions are going to be threatened dramatically by climate change. And we're going to have to produce food in new and different ways if we're going to feed the population in the United States, in the Northeast, and globally. Second, there's a whole host of interest around topics like data analytics, cybersecurity, physical cybersecurity. How do you protect the devices that we all use and rely on today? How do you innovate in these areas are important things that were covered in the applications that were ultimately successful. And there were 2 in this area. We've heard about one, the RI Hub, which will be an innovation center based here in Providence. And there will be a second, which is a very interesting and in some ways unprecedented partnership amongst 3 universities. The University of Rhode Island, Arizona State, and Brown will be involved in several of these projects. But Arizona State and URI in particular will be working on one around data analytics and cybersecurity initially, but with the potential to expand into a whole host of areas beyond that. So in this particular initiative, you're bringing 2 distinguished research universities together, one in the west and one in the east. It's sort of a coast-to-coast alliance. And both of us are very, very enthusiastic about working together, and you'll hear more about that from Jimmy shortly. I'll talk briefly about RI Hub, which is a partnership that will involve URI and Brown, IBM and Mass Challenge as private sector partners. It will be located primarily here in Providence. Some programming will take place down on the Kingston campus, simply to take advantage of the talent pool there. But again, this will be a straight-up innovation center where people with ideas can apply, be selected, participate at no cost to themselves. They'll have support services provided by IBM and others to develop their ideas, ready them for the marketplace, and then bring them out. And we're very, very excited about that. There are other institutions also thinking about participating. Arizona State may well have a role in this as well. And we're very, very excited about the potential to put together this kind of innovation hub here in the Innovation District, the I-195 district created in Providence, and then drive it with some very, very powerful, I think, university partners and the private sector partners, particularly IBM and Mass Challenge, then to really create an innovation center here in the capital city that I think can drive economic development throughout the state.
Jimmy, Arizona State University, some people might be wondering, why are you here in Rhode Island in a place like this?
Sure. First of all, good morning. Thanks so much for having me here and for inviting us to join this panel. That's a good question. And we did get a lot of like, Arizona State University, you're a state university based in Arizona, why would you be here? For two reasons. One, we believe absolutely in the vision of the innovation campuses and what the state of Rhode Island is trying to achieve. Two, it was an opportunity to work with a partner like the University of Rhode Island. So if you look at Arizona State University, let me contextualize this just a little bit. We are now the largest public research university in the country. We have doubled our enrollment in just the last 10 years. And that size matters because there's an unmet need here still, right? There's still this idea where we look at workforce development, when we look at talent shortage, when we look at jobs of the future, one of the things that we're absolutely certain of, and University of Rhode Island shares this view, is that we don't yet know what some of the jobs of the future are going to look like. We don't yet know what some of the technology changes are going to continue to precipitate. So if we look at us as an educational institution, it's really about teaching people how to learn. Learning how to learn, learning how to go through the next waves of job changes that are going to happen, industrial changes that are going to happen, future and technology, what future technology looks like and how we not only weather it, but we're the ones that actually shape it. So that's one thing at the heart of it. We absolutely believe in innovation. We absolutely believe in partnership with innovation. And we believe in the vision that the state of Rhode Island is trying to do with this innovation campus. And that then ties straight into the university's model of what we're deeming a national service university model. What used to be, right, a state university, you're really interested in your local and regional interests here, and what we're seeing increasingly is that these are not local and regional interests anymore. What's happening in cybersecurity is not a question of what happens just in Phoenix or Tucson, what's going to be happening in Scottsdale. It's going to be just as important in terms of what's happening in Providence or in Kingston. So that's one of the things that we absolutely believe in, is that if we're partnering together and taking the best of and admiring, again, the faculty and the research that's happening at the University of Rhode Island and combine it to the mutual benefit of our communities, could we potentially amplify, get ahead of, innovating faster and farther than we could separately. So it's the main part of that idea. And what we proposed then was a partnership that helped us have education and workforce development impact. Could we be innovative about how we offer undergraduate or graduate or even stackable certificates or micro-credentials to both of our student bodies, both the known student bodies as well as yet to be identified student bodies that need this. Two, could we work together very specifically in research and research development? And Peter and I just shared a smile. Peter Snyder's the VP of Research at URI, because even in just these 4 months of conversations about the research topics, certainly beginning with cybersecurity, big data, and related Internet of Things and big data analytics, we've already expanded and identified 2 additional areas where we said we have key strengths, and these are going to be critically important. How do we then combine our researchers and our strengths together to further these areas as well? So that second area is research development. The third area is very specifically in commercialization and startup support. To this idea that we're taking the innovations that are being created inside the university, taking that intellectual property, taking that know-how, and creating new products and services, and then forming new organizations around it. So having that be part of the outputs of what the university does, right? New entrepreneurs, new companies, small to medium enterprises, new innovations that can actually become inputs into existing organizations as well. The fourth part, which is I think incredibly important, is community outreach and citizen science. And the idea with community outreach and citizen science is really educating, having everything from seminars to public events to workshops, opportunities for people to engage in all of these important issues, and engage in ways where it's not necessarily as a researcher or as a student, but engage as informing us on what the issues are, informing us on where the gaps in knowledge are, and then partnering to help solve some of those. And then the third and last piece about Arizona State University's role in this is to maintain a presence both as a learning center, as a knowledge hub, as an innovation center in both Providence and in Kingston. In Kingston, critically, we need to want to be close to the faculty and to the students. And so we made it a clear point that we want to invest in the continued growth of the University of Rhode Island, and by co-locating with the University of Rhode Island, really easing that transaction burden, making it quite simple for the collisions to happen, making it quite simple for faculty and students again to work together. And then Providence, obviously, as well, to be able to be part of potentially this RI hub, as well as being an industry firm for. So that's kind of a top-level overview for now. I'm happy to get into any additional details as we go.
Sure. So before we do that, let's talk about the third pillar. So we're talking about 3 innovation campuses here. President Dooley has outlined the RI hub. Jimmy has talked about the cyber and big data campus. So the third one is ag tech. And Michael Howland from Rhode Island Mushroom, you started your business 6 years ago in a closet.
I did. Good morning. So a little background on where I come from. I'm actually a musician. I went to Berklee College of Music up in Boston, and I worked with your favorite artists like Beyonce and Bruce Springsteen for many years, and then finally I said enough's enough, moved back to Rhode Island, and went and worked for a farm. And I picked plants up, and I moved them from one place to another for $10 an hour, and I said, wow, this is amazing. How do I do this and actually make a living? So I started Rhode Island Mushroom Company in a closet in Middletown, Rhode Island. We were running about 40 pounds of mushrooms a week, and that was 6 years ago. So now we're selling about 100,000 pounds of mushrooms a week. We've been our CAGRs over 100%, and it's been a challenge just to be able to sustain that growth. But throughout that process, it's become quite clear that there's a few things that are happening in the Northeast. One is a huge interest in locally produced product. So, and there's absolutely none available. You may not know this, but in the Northeast, about 3% of the produce that we consume here is produced here. The other 97% comes from either Canada, California, Mexico, or really all over the world, the Netherlands. And that's been okay in the past, but President Dooley touched on the fact that food security is a serious issue in the Northeast. As climate change hits us, what's going to be happening is water shortages out west, right? So the way we've produced crops commercially over the years is going to have to change. And one of the things we're blessed with here in the Northeast is an ample supply of water, and it's just getting better, right? So we have a lot of water, we're short on land, right? And we have a huge market to supply. So that requires innovation. And it's clear that we have a lot of work to do. So what we did was we submitted a proposal to build an innovation campus around agriculture. And we were able to find many different partners throughout the community, including Volo Agri. Volo Agri is one of the leading seed developers, which is very important to a lot of controlled environment agriculture that we'll be looking into in the near future. Veronomics is another partner. Veronomics is a gene editing company. They're based out of Yale. Stephen Delaporte is a close friend of mine. He's the CEO of that company. And we're already doing a huge amount of work with them, and there's a very exciting future in gene editing, which I won't get into the details right now, but you can do some reading about it, and I expect that to have a huge impact on controlled environment agriculture in the Northeast. And finally, URI. URI is a critical partner in what we'll be looking to do at our campus down at Peckham Farm. And we'll be partnering with Peter Snyder and the Research Foundation of URI. So we expect to be moving forward and really developing new technologies around it with engineering, genetics, all these different factors that go into producing high-quality crops at a huge scale. And to give you an idea, the facility that we're building at URI is about 59 acres, right? So 2.4 million square feet of indoor ag. That facility can produce 32 million pounds of food per year. That's 10 times what we produce in the state of Rhode Island as a whole, currently. So all the ag land in Rhode Island that's being used currently, that's 10 times the output that we have as a whole now. So it's going to be very important that we use this as an opportunity to develop it further and get better at this, right? We're going to be using cogen, natural gas-fired power plants to make our own power, all these great engineering technologies that we can use to make it more cost-effective. How do we get even better at that, right? How do we eliminate natural gas? There's a lot of these questions that we have to answer, and we expect to partner very heavily with the Research Foundation and bringing in partners from outside to work with us on that.
So Jimmy, I'll go back to you in the spirit of giving our guests this morning something that they can take away with them. You are an expert, subject matter expert on cyber. Why don't you tell us a little bit about the state of the industry today and what people, 3 things that people should be aware of or take with them today to protect themselves from a breach, a personal breach.
So I actually have to correct that a little bit. I'm actually not a subject matter expert in cyber. I am a subject matter expert though in connecting experts to needs. So my job is really to be innovative about saying, hey, how to reach the people. It is the case that Arizona State University has a terrific global security initiative, and it's a pan-university initiative. It's the way we approach things, right? And understanding that the latest cyber threats are not going to come from, obviously, right, if they were all known, we would solve them by now. There there's going to be a number of things that are both known and above the surface, everything from breach of data and how privacy is managed in terms of personally identifiable information and how that's used in different ways. But there's also an entire other systems level of things that are happening. So again, one of the things that interested us about working with the University of Rhode Island is because there is already some critical constraints, and as an example, cyber-physical security infrastructure. Things like, how do we protect our electric grid? How do we protect our water supply system? How do we protect, because the more and more of these systems are reliant on computer and technology, and the more and more these are networked, one of the things we don't know yet is exactly how and when these breaches are going to occur and what the vulnerabilities look like. So for me, there's the consumer-facing things that we read about every day. There's the Marriott hotel breaches that have been, but then there's also a whole other level of infrastructure that we don't yet know of, and frankly, that some people don't want to talk about openly because it exposes us to even more, hey, keep trying to find the weak spots in the system. So if I kind of pivot a little bit and say what we're hoping to do with this partnership with the University of Rhode Island and what's going to be relevant to all of you is, one, there's a lot of subject matter expertise in the room. And cybersecurity, the reason why we wanted to choose that was based on the existing strengths, but also based on the impact it's going to have on everybody. There's going to be impact on agriculture when it comes to cybersecurity. There's going to be impact on just about every industry you can imagine is going to be impacted by cybersecurity threats and breaches. So the invitation is really for us to learn more about what are the vulnerabilities that you might be facing. So you have expertise in your direct industries, and being able to work with us, come to our events, come to our meetups, help us understand better what your needs are going to be, and then us being able to then say, here are a set of things that we already know we've already worked on, and then here are a set of things that we can work on together. So I'm pivoting it just a little bit and making it less about information for you and an invitation to say that as part of this Rhode Island Innovation Campus, we're going to need your participation to work with us to better identify what some of these threats are.
On that in terms of how could this audience interact with your particular campus theme?
So there's our campus is a little different than the other campuses in the sense that it's currently 59 acres. We'll be building about 2.4 million square feet of additional production space, genomic centers, and seed development space. However, we'll also be building the Agricultural Innovation Center, which is a 30,000 square foot facility that will be operated by the Research Foundation in URI. So we'll have offices there, Veronomics, Volo Agri will have participation at that site. And what we're hoping to do is have real participation from both outside and startups. So we're hoping to really accelerate agricultural startups and moving our businesses forward. I mean, the bottom line we're looking at is big data has a huge impact on what we're doing. I mean, genomics, all we're looking at is AI and machine learning around genomics, right? That's what we're working on every day. And I mean, our data is where our return on investment comes from, bottom line, in agriculture. As we move to CEA, controlled environment agriculture, that is where the returns come from. I'm sorry, excuse me. So absolutely, there's an opportunity for all of you to interject yourselves into our facility with the Research Foundation in the Agricultural Innovation Center. There'll be huge amounts of opportunity there.
President Dooley, how to engage directly with the university in advancing each of these three projects?
Well, if I'm not mistaken, probably everyone in the room has Catherine Flynn's phone number. Or if you don't have hers, she has yours. And Catherine has our Business Engagement Center, which is located within the URI Foundation and works closely with many of the companies represented in this. That's the portal to the university. It's our #1 way connecting with every external constituency that we have as interested in partnering with the university. So that'll be a portal that we continue to use and develop and expand over time. In addition, each of these innovation campus operations will have access points and staff devoted to making sure that there are opportunities that are publicized and presented to all of you on a regular basis and to any others, frankly, out there, including students who have ideas in their basement or their closet, for that matter, and want to bring them out and want to try them. And the idea is compelling enough to actually get inside RI Hub or to get engaged with one of the other innovation centers and campuses that we're going to be constructing and operating over the next few years. So it absolutely does depend on everyone here spreading the word, letting people know what we're doing, what subjects are being covered, keeping current, because those will evolve over time. As Jimmy indicated, particularly with the Arizona State URI partnership, that's going to expand dramatically over time. And I think that'll happen in all three of these areas. We'll define the space, and those spaces will grow over time as more and more people get included and interested and energized to work in these areas. That'll be, I think, critically important. We'll work with the Commerce Secretary as well, particularly as we expand and create more innovation campuses of getting that promoted. Because this is something that Rhode Island is doing, frankly, at the moment that's relatively unique. That is, create multiple campuses from multiple subject areas, from multiple business opportunities, all in one location. Let's face it, Rhode Island as a state, as we all know, is by Montana standards, where I came from, about the size of a small county. It's possible for us to interact with one another very, very well. And that's a huge asset that we can capitalize on here in this state. And we're looking forward to doing that as we build these campuses out and make them accessible not only to everybody in Rhode Island, but regionally and even nationally.
I think it's fair to say that business engagement with the university has really increased over the last half a dozen years. And the people in this room and other members of the chamber have really found an open door in working with the university.
Well, that's been a primary goal of ours. We set the goal many years ago that we wanted to be not just seen as, but to function as business's primary partner here in Rhode Island among higher education institutions. That's inherent in our mission as a land-grant university. That's what we were created to do, to create knowledge, educate people while we're doing that, and then to share that broadly, not just to our students, but to everybody that we serve. And as Jimmy quite correctly points out, for institutions like the University of Rhode Island and Arizona State, that is now national and even a global imperative, that we work with people everywhere to improve, I think, economic prosperity and security for all people, but particularly for the state that we call home. So this is a priority. We're never going to give up on that priority. It's central to our identity. It's central to our mission. It's something our students believe in, our faculty believe in. The institution runs on that every single day, and we're always looking for opportunities to partner. If you've got an idea, if you have a question, a problem, an issue, anything where the assets of the University of Rhode Island can be useful to you, whether it's talent, facilities, partnerships, whatever that is, then get in touch with us, be it the Business Engagement Center, be it the Innovation Campuses, which they're all operating fully, and a variety of other conduits into the institution. And we have also now brought under the URI umbrella both the Manufacturing Extension Partnership, Polaris, which works directly with manufacturers across the state, and the Small Business Development Center, also located now at the University of Rhode Island. So those are additional conduits into the talent, expertise, and capabilities of the University of Rhode Island that everyone can get to.
So Mike, when we go to the grocery store, will we see your mushrooms?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, you go, actually, we have the most shelf space of any agricultural producer in New York City. So if you walk into Whole Foods, you'll see 24 facings of Rhode Island Mushroom Company. So you can imagine we have that many varieties. But it was actually a dream when I walked in today. I grew up living in New York City. That's right. My first job was working at Columbia Records in New York, and I used to go grocery shopping there. Before there were really grocery stores in New York, they were bodegas, Now when you go to Columbus Circle, I walked in this, Whole Foods there, and there's a huge display of Rhode Island Mushroom Company mushrooms. So we're pushing mushrooms out of Rhode Island.
So do you have mushrooms for breakfast, lunch, and dinner?
Well, it does. Mushrooms are both healthy and tasty, so. Yeah, so. And on top of that, so as we expand into our new facilities, we're in the process of finishing financing of a new facility in New Hampshire. So that'll be about 1.8 million square feet, and that produces tomatoes and salad greens. And that will be available in many different stores in the Northeast. However, just to give you some perspective, these facilities that are producing millions and millions of pounds of food have virtually no impact on our food supply. So it's about 0.5% of the market. You can see the need for these facilities in the Northeast. So I mean, even the one down here, with having 32 million pass output is less than 1% of the total need for the Northeast. So yeah, so once we build the facility in New Hampshire and then in the facility in Rhode Island, we'll do salad greens, tomatoes, cucumbers, mushrooms, and really the plan is to develop genomics to help us to grow other crops in the Northeast as well. So really, bottom line, we have to produce crops profitably, and there's certain varietals that we can't do that with. So that's the work we try to do. So using engineering and genomics together.
I wonder if people realize the degree to which water is such an important asset in the Northeast. If you think about what goes on the West Coast, in California, in Nevada, other places where water is so scarce, it's like oil, right?
I just recently had the opportunity to meet with an investment firm out west that made, they took $1 billion and turned it into 2 in 9 months, investing solely in water. So it gives you an idea of where water's at on the West Coast, right? At the bottom line, if you look at water as an asset on the West Coast, we have to value our land in the same way. And it's not just, generally land. It's open, large-scale plots, directly tied to natural gas, right? Those are the things that really matter. And that's where our assets are in the Northeast. So, and what we have here in Rhode Island, which is so excellent, is our closeness to market. One of the reasons of our success is because we've had the ability to both tackle the Boston market and the New York market with ease. And I think Rhode Island generally has that going for it, not just for agriculture, for everything else as well.
President Dooley, I will give you the last word.
The last word. Well, thank you. I think
there's still some additional money left with the bond.
there is,
so
and
there may be room for another 4 or 5.
we have.
Projects 4 to 5.
That's right. We have applicants in the first round that we're still considering. They've been given the opportunity to revise their initial proposals and come back because there's strong merit there, but not as much in the committee's view as existed with the 3 that we talked about today, but real potential. So we'll have at least another round of awards to make, and there may be an opportunity even beyond that to open up a competition, depending on the decisions made that are forthcoming. So I think there's going to be a lot of exciting developments here in Rhode Island, and it's a way for us to really capitalize, as I said earlier, on the assets we have. I mean, when you have a state like this, you have all the public and private institutions of higher education, which, by the way, have overwhelmingly really strong relationships and partnerships with one another on a whole number of fronts. There's a real, I think, cohesion there in that sector for Rhode Island that we can capitalize on in better ways than we have in the past. We at the University of Rhode Island, of course, want to be at the center of that. We think that's appropriate as the state's public flagship research university, but we are willing to partner wherever and whenever the opportunity arises. So I think there's a lot of reason for optimism. We heard that at the start of today's session. I think this kind of initiative is important because it builds the economy of the future. Just as Jimmy said, we don't know what kind of jobs are going to be created in the next 10 years. One of the things that I'm constantly reminded of in higher education is we have to be mindful of the fact that we are educating students for jobs that don't exist yet, based on technologies that haven't been developed, and based on scientific and other kinds of discoveries that haven't yet been made. We know those will happen, and we need to prepare our people for those opportunities ahead. And that will be the central focus of these innovation campuses. Prepare people for whatever that future opportunity may be in important sectors to the future of Rhode Island.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, Jimmy, and thank you, Michael.